I'd been auditioning for Lund and the Charlottetown Festival for 4 years. I was 15 the first time. I was pretty cocky back then, but I wasn't that cocky that I just decided to audition for what was the premier music theater company in Canada and the best music theater director and choreographer, certainly in Canada, if not the world. I loved him. It was Lund himself who asked me to audition for the festival. Well, actually, I think he asked my mom and dad first, and then he asked me. Alan had been directing shows in my hometown of Kitchener for, well, since 1971. I guess I'd shown some sort of potential, and anyhow, I prepared my 2 songs. I asked my dad if he would drive me into Toronto, because I was only 15. And I did my audition. They said, thank you, and I went home. I did this 3 years in a row. It was then that I sort of realized there was an unfortunate pattern developing. I would always seem to get the audition spot just before noon, and upon arrival, the stage manager very politely would inform me that, well, they were running late and they really only had time to hear one of my songs. In 1976, I was back again, 4th year. This year, I was auditioning for Anne of Green Gables, The Rowdy Man, and the piece that I thought was going to be my big in. The piece was called By George, and it was a musical review based on the music of George Gershwin. Yeah, I decided this year was my year. I put together a 6-minute medley. A little tap break. I got my sister to come to Toronto with me to play the piano. And once again, I convinced my poor father to drive us in. I was well rehearsed. I was mentally and physically prepared, but there was just one worry. I had the same damned audition time. The last slot just before lunch. It was only when we were just a few blocks away from the space that I was auditioning that I got this brilliant idea, I thought. I screamed at my father to pull over. I jumped out of the car. I ran into a little shop. I came back a few minutes later with 2 big paper bags full of stuff. My sister asked, and my father knew better. I just told my sister that it was perhaps the answer to an annoying roadblock I was having. We arrived at the rehearsal and settled in to wait our turn. When my name was finally called, my sister and I went into the audition space and went directly to the center of the stage and, still holding my bags, waited. Yeah, the stage manager stood up and began the familiar apology about lateness, and without saying a word, I walked up the aisle, set down the 2 bags. Out of one, I pulled out 6 cups of coffee. Out of the other, I pulled out a box of Tim Hortons donuts. Then I walked back down to the center of the stage and did my entire 6-minute medley without interruption. I got the job. Success. Only one problem is that I wasn't really sure whether I was hired for my talent or my choice of donuts. Either way, my first big break in the biz was a coffee break.